What's up, guys? Welcome to Vancouver, Canada. This is now the fourth or fifth car I've driven this morning, and we are in a 2008 BMW E92 M3 with a ton of mods. Obviously, I'm no stranger to the E9X generation of M3. I've driven so many different examples, including in the M3 generations comparison series I did a while back. But I'm always curious, how do you make the M3 feel better? Especially the manual transmission version, because the clutch and the shifter feel of the stock M3 have always been just not great. The clutch is a bit vague and soft, the shifter, same thing, very rubbery. The owner of this car, Iggy, has done the right mods to hopefully address it. Full list of mods in the video description, but we've got the KW Clubsport Coilovers, adjustable endlinks, Hotchkis sway bars front and rear, solid rear subframe mounts, Eisenmann race exhaust, and look at this, chassis mounted Coolerworx Pro short shifter, and the ultimate clutch pedal. Do these solve the weaknesses of the manual E9X M3? We're also on some beautiful Desmond Regamaster Evo 2 18x10 wrapped in Continental Extreme Contact Force 275/35/18 Paragon PA035 front brakes. Let's see how this car drives. We're powered by the S65 engine, 4-liter naturally aspirated V8, making 414 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. This car should weigh a little over 3,500 pounds with a manual transmission in coupe body style. It's based on the E9X 3 series. Not a all-out sports car per se, but BMW has already proven that the M3 doesn't need to be a ton of fun to drive. First things first, this shifter reminds me of my old CAE shifter in my Porsche 997 Carrera. It's very high effort, very mechanical, precise, but it's something you got to get used to. Wow, this engine is very rattly at partial throttle. Woo. Very good brake response. Lots of initial bite from this Paragon kit and whatever pads he has on it. This is still a quick car, 414 horsepower in a 3,500 pound car. It's still a really good power to weight ratio. Wow, this shifter, man, it is an order of magnitude more mechanical and precise than the stock rubbery BMW shifter. Wow, that fourth to fifth gear shift though, the fifth gear feels like it's so far to the upper right corner. Look at that. You have to be very intentional with every gear shift. Wow. Eisenmann race exhaust. It sounds glorious. I'm sure it sounds even better with the windows down. E92 M3 has always had good steering feel. It's hydraulic, decent feedback, but it's not class-leading steering feel. But I think whatever Iggy has done here, maybe it's the monoball bushings, the steering feels really direct in this car. Easy to place front end, considering it's a fairly heavy front engine rear-wheel drive car. Very, very sharp responses. Same from the suspension, KW Clubsport. I've always been a fan, and this is a great example why. It takes a car that comes with pretty soft and honestly a little bit sloppy suspension from the factory. The stock suspension of this car was never the highlight. Not only did it feel soft in the corners, but over the bumps it felt a bit crashy and not compliant enough. KW Clubsport, it firms up everything, and yet the compliance increases as well. It handles these bumps so much better. Mid-corner balance for days. See, even going over these bumps mid-corner, the chassis doesn't get upset. It's a very long third gear sweeper here. This car is just a joy to drive. It's another car that responds really well to mods, but you have to put the right mods on this, not just some lowering springs and cheap aftermarket shocks. You really need a proper damper with a good spring rate. KW Clubsport provides that. This aftermarket shifter makes the shift feel, like I said earlier, an order of magnitude better. Higher effort, maybe not as great for daily driving, but I'm sure once you get used to it, it's not such a problem. And then the ultimate clutch pedal also feels so much better than stock. And I can just feel the grabbing point that much better. What a sound. Let me lower the windows for you guys just a little bit. It truly sounds like a race engine that's been fitted to a 3 Series BMW. It's not mind-blowing levels of power for this chassis, but the sound and the response, the throttle response is so sharp. And this car looks so good with the Regamaster wheels. Square setup, 18 by 10, I think, all around. For $30,000 to $40,000, the E9X M3 is still one of the best bang for buck daily drivable sports cars or sports coupes that you can buy right now. I've probably made that statement a dozen times, but even after all these years, it still remains true. These cars haven't really depreciated a whole lot in the last few years, but they also haven't gone up in value significantly either. They've been hovering in this $30,000 to $40,000 range for a long time. And even as the years go by, there has yet to be a new car that comes out that can really give this a run for its money. And that makes sense. Gone are the days of high revving, naturally aspirated V8 engines for the most part. We do get things like the new Mustang Dark Horse, fantastic car, but realistically, 2 to 2.5 times the price of a used E92 or E90. Is it 2 to 3 times the car? Absolutely not. I mean, you can buy basically a fully loaded new BRZ, maybe a BRZ TS, for about the same price as a clean E9X M3. Granted, this car is going to cost you a good amount in maintenance, and the mod prices for BMWs are going to be higher than your average JDM car. But when you put the right mods on it, as Iggy has demonstrated here, it is truly a phenomenal driving experience. Not only on the road, not only in the canyons, but also on track. I've driven one of these on track with some quality mods, just some basic mods. Coilovers, brakes, obviously you got to do the rod bearings, the throttle actuators, the typical things that the S65 engine needs. But once you have that done, once you put the right mods on it, it is just such a great driving experience, especially for the money. So shout out to Iggy. Let me know what you think about this build and the E9X M3 platform in general. Is it still one of the best driver's cars with a back seat that you can get for less than $40,000? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.